Alright, fuck it, welcome back to another episode of the Shodcast. This is episode 28. I'm Adam, I'm your host, and this is my good friend Aydan. And we're here and we talk about shit, and this is a bit of a podcast, and it's a bit of fun, and it's a bit of everything. So, Aydan, this week, what are we going to talk about?
Oh, I know you're the guy that...
I am the guy that organises everything. So, Aydan... So, Aydan, this week we are going to talk about. I have decided. I was deciding what do we talk about this week, and I was asking people at work, and they gave me a few good suggestions, which might come up in future episodes.
Some good suggestions.
Yeah, but I was thinking, why don't we talk about torture? And I was thinking, why don't we talk about some ancient torture methods? Why don't we talk about some modern torture methods, and then maybe just see where this goes, you know?
Maybe make up a few of our own, you know?
Mate, okay. I haven't thought about that.
I'm a creative guy.
He's a creative guy. We're going to see where this goes. So,
you never knew you could be tortured with just a feather.
You'd be fucking amazed what you can get out of a man with a feather. So, I've compiled a list of a website that I actually can't remember, so whatever this website's from, you get the full credit. But basically, there's I've got 8 ancient methods, and then quite a few modern methods that the CIA use.
The pussy methods.
And then I've got a few. I've got a few stories that we're gonna go through of some real life torture things. They're not very long, but we'll go through them. So to start off the list, we're gonna go through. Well, not even that. Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to do the plug. So, I have an Instagram. That's at Cancelling Culture, where you can see some film reviews. And there's also the YouTube channel that's at Cancelling Culture. There is also an Instagram that is the Shodcast. No, that is the Shodcast Pod. That's what it is. The Shodcast Pod. And you can see clips of this. Kind of daily. Whenever I can be asked to actually put them up. But, go see that. Anyway. So, the first ancient torture method, right, is the wheel. A severe bashing.
Yeah, I hate that show.
No, not the...
Does Michael McIntyre think he's dead?
Yeah, who does he think he is? No, the wheel, a severe bashing. The wheel is also known as an execution wheel, breaking wheel, or the wheel.
So I'll stop doing that every time you say wheel.
The Catherine wheel. This commonly used ruthless contraption in the ancient world was reserved for public executions. There are variations of the practice, but generally the prisoner was tied to a large wooden spoke wheel, and the goal was to not kill them but severely mutilate them, with the executioner starting with breaking the leg bones and then working their way up.
Yeah, they originally had just a table, but some guy was like, "Well, make them spin the whole time."
Let's make this a spectacle. You know, people come to see this.
Like, I'll tell you what, we can charge for people to spin it.
I was going to say, we can charge, you know, there's a business here. Come on, guys. People are coming every week seeing this for free. Why don't we monopolize?
5 for the little stones. You got 10 for the big ones.
Yeah.
These packets right here,
okay.
That's 50.
That's 50. Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, so, after that, right, what they do is they would do this with an iron bar, beating their victim to near death, crushing all their bones and bludgeoning them.
An iron bar?
Yeah.
Whose idea is that?
That's like a crowbar. Can you imagine being beaten with a crowbar?
I don't know, it just doesn't really feel well organised. It's like, well, he's still standing. Like, well, what do we have lying around here? It's like, well, he's got some crowbar. Well, just hit him with it, and then that became a tradition.
What we got lying around? You got that? Yeah. Give me that.
Just hitting him with a crowbar.
Right.
Get a bit creative with it.
Right. Beating the victim to near death, crushing all their bones and bludgeoning. Once finished, and now the ghastly maimed prisoner would be repositioned on the wheel so that their heels came together at the back of their neck, and they would be left that way to bleed to death. So they'd be beaten to death, and then your heels would be brought over the back of you.
Yeah, we got it.
But imagine that. That's horrific. Now I've got some real life examples.
Yeah, like the Magician's version when they throw daggers and it hits every spot but you, and you're on the wheel.
So in Europe, punishment via the wheel had been documented in Austria, Britain, France, Francina, Germany, Rome, the Indian subcontinent, Russia.
Francina?
I don't know. Francina, Russia, Scotland, and Switzerland.
You're just gonna name a fake country and act as if we didn't know.
It was in there. I'm fucking copy and pasted this, Aydan.
Francina.
I don't know. Look. Maybe it was like a little continent that got taken over by the Ruskies. I don't know, man. Anyway, so in 1348, a Jew named Bonner was tortured on the wheel for 4 days and 4 nights, and is the longest known survival of a person via this punishment.
Yes, guy like finished with the crow. It's like, fuck, it's really wearing me out.
Is that all you got?
Pussy.
Come on, man, you got more than this. Okay, so well, do you know, how would you feel being on that torture device?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
You got a long way.
I'd rather have that than like a lot of the ones which I will mention if you don't.
Okay, well I'm gonna go through these, and if you don't mention any by the time I go through them, then we'll. Okay, so the next one is keyholing.
Oh, yeah, I know what that is. I hate that shit, man.
It's fucked. The term comes from the Dutch word of keyhalen, which means to be dragged along the keel, which is precisely what the torture method did.
It's the bottom of a ship, for those who don't know what the keel is.
The sailor was stripped, tied and suspended by a rope from the ship's mast, and weights from the chain attached to their legs. The rope was looped beneath the ship, and the sailor was released. They were dragged under the keel. The fatality rate was practically 100%.
Because they spin you back over again if you didn't die.
They suffered severe head trauma from the repeatedly smacking against the keel, as well as deep lacerations from the barnacles and other aquatic growth presented on the hull. If they survived and were hauled back aboard, death would most likely still result from wound infections.
Not only that, they wouldn't just bash their head on the kill. When you go over the kill, you'd most likely break your neck.
Yeah, could you imagine that?
You wouldn't just get like a concussion. You wouldn't hit your head on the kill. You'd you'd be contorted as you go over it because it's
honestly, that's
all the barnacles and shit as well.
I was reading this earlier and I was like, do you know what? That actually sounds horrible.
Yeah, but that's not the worst one.
Imagine that.
The worst one involves milk and honey.
Yeah, but like
you thought that would. Milk and honey sounds nice, right?
Like, no, do you know what? No. That sounds fucked.
They're all pretty fucked. I don't like it. I think that's the idea of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like it. It just sounds horrible. Anyway, so real life examples in the above paintings depicted keelholing Dutch ships. There aren't above paintings because we're reading the thing and I copy and pasted this. But
so you said above paintings.
Yeah, look, I copy and pasted it. Look, it says the above paintings. I just read that and I was like, well, that doesn't have above paintings, so we're going to go with it. The English Royal Navy used this method in the 11th century. Several 17th century English writers also recorded British naval ships using it. So basically it was used during the 17th century. No, hang on. The 11th century, sorry. And then, so it's quite a barbaric kind of thing. You think the 11th century, what was that? That was the 1000s.
Yeah, I mean...
But then a few writers have suggested that it was used in the 17th century.
It's less primitive than just beating them with a crowbar on a wheel.
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, because they're not like...
It's definitely less primitive than a crowbar on the wheel. It seems barbaric.
That's like because you're the one that's putting in the kinetic energy there, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's a bit fucked. It just seems a little bit like, really.
The only problem with the keyholing thing is that you probably got to get the whole team in to go on the rope, and it's like, oh, guys, we could be making headfast right here.
We can actually be making a difference, you know.
We can be storming ahead, but we're too busy just beating on this guy because he claimed that he saw a mermaid. Poor guy. He's out of his fucking mind. He's been drinking rum all day because we get free rum. He's eating nothing but fucking salty fish and it's all fermenting. And he's got scurvy because there's no vegetables on board. And he hasn't fucked in years. Give the guy a break.
been fucking men for years. His dick's about to fall off. Right, so the next one, the rack stretching the body.
Oh, do you know, this would probably feel real good until like 10 seconds.
Do you know what I could really do if, like you say, it for about 5 seconds? Just stretch me. My back could absolutely benefit for something like that. So, another brutal torture method device in the ancient world was the rack. It was involving a table, usually wooden, with axles and levers on both ends. The victim was forced to lay down, after which leather straps and belts bound to their wrists and heels. The straps had chains and or ropes tied to them, which wound over the axles. One or several torturers would then slowly push on the levers, causing the axles to rotate and produce tension in the chains. This would cause straps to dig into the prisoner's skin and gradually stretch their body outwards.
I don't know why, but the way you're talking, it's like it's like when a teacher picks on someone to read and they weren't quite ready for it.
Hey, come on, buddy. You need to teach.
Hey, bro, did you really just talk during silent reading time?
Hey, this should drive everything I'm reading. You need to act seriously, okay? This is serious shit, okay?
Trying to get my Greg Heffley on.
Hey, buddy. If you can't read, people won't like you.
That is true.
Yeah. You want to be the illiterate guy at the pub, you're like, what is that pint said?
Can't even play a game of Scrabble with you.
You know, if I was a teacher, I'd teach kids in the aspect of, like, if you're in the pub, you need to know this. That would be my... But look, guys, you need to know this history. Because if you're in a pub quiz, you want to fucking know your shit, right?
Fucking nail it.
You want to fucking nail it, right? So real life examples of the rack.
But you're gonna give a real life example every time. I feel like we already know what's coming here.
In 1447, British Constable John Exeter used the rack to torture prisoners in the Tower of London.
Yeah.
And in Greece, in 356 BC, the Greeks used the device to torture a Greek arsonist, Herostratus, who burnt down the temple of Artemis at Ephesus.
So the rack's been around for a long time.
So the rack's been around.
It's like that dictator scene. Someone pulls out one of those.
The rack's been around since about 356
it's like dusty as fuck, and the guy being tortured is like, come on, really, the rack? You think I haven't seen this before?
Alright, come on. Get a... Oh, dude, honestly, it's like, you know in Incredibles, when Mr. Incredible's being stretched by the machine, and it, like, cracks his bone, and he's like, oh, that feels nice. And then it cracks him, like, slightly too far. Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah.
That's slightly too far. But they wouldn't just do it slightly too far. They would make you paralysed if you survived the rack.
Okay, so, the next one...
You'd be dislocated on all of your joints, so it's not really what you want.
No, it isn't really what you want, is it? Yeah. Nah, fuck that. So, the Blood Eagle. Giving victims wings. Do you know what the Blood Eagle is? No, the Blood Eagle.
It's the same thing.
I think it was called the Blood Eagle originally.
It was the same thing. It's the same thing.
Where have you got Blood Angel?
From the Viking.
I thought Blood Eagle was the term.
I'm pretty sure they're both the term.
Are they both the term?
It's just when you flay someone and you splice their rib cage open and you display it like a fucking pair of wings on the back of them. It was in It was also in that new Hannibal show. Not new. The more recent one compared to anything else, Hannibal Lecter.
Oh yeah, no, I know you mean
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's flaying anyone is pretty fucked up.
Oh right, yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
No, okay. So basically, if 6 victims, no, what am I talking about? 6 victims. That's not what it says.
It's just a big blood eagle. It's a sculpture.
If the 6 other ancient worlds. Ways to die have not made you squirm yet. Welcome to the barbaric practice of the Blood Eagle.
Who wrote this shit, man?
I don't know. I'm stealing this, so I'm not taking any credit. Also, I just realised where we get that fucking hiss. I've got the other channel up. I didn't think it would make a difference.
But you didn't think the other channel wouldn't make a difference?
So it yeah. So
get rid of this guy.
So we've had some hiss for the first 13 minutes of this podcast, and I think you know that I'm really sorry. If you stuck around, then now you've got some nice clean audio. I've just figured out what all these years why we've had this hiss.
These years
we got rid of the hum. the hum was in my room, and now we're down here and we've got rid of the hum. But now I've just figured out. I was just like, because I use this to like figure out like if we've still got the channel on, but like I had it just too high where it was just like I was getting this horrible hiss. Yeah.
Proceeds to put it all the way to the top.
No, I turned it down. Anyway, so basically, the blood eagle, although it is highly debated whether this torture method was real or just literary invention, either way, a rather disturbing mind concoction it is. The blood eagle ritual was the first mentioned in the late Skaldic poetry. Skaldic.
Yeah, Skaldic.
Yeah, poetry. The victim would lie in a prone position and be kept alive as their back was sliced open and their ribs were detached from their spine, as the lungs were pulled out, opened to form a pair of bloody wings, and it was hard to imagine one staying conscious long enough for this to be completed. Nevertheless, the Viking sagas are to be trusted. This technique has truly earned its spot as one of the most brutal and painful and downright terrifying ways to die.
That's the thing about torture methods. Like, you can only tolerate so much pain and adrenaline until you will pass out.
Yeah, I know. Like, how long can you actually truly go before?
Which is like, why some of them are designed to counteract that. Like,
do you think it's like
that? Some of them are designed to counteract that, and it's things that like
I don't know, man.
It's not like
it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them last like fucking days.
Yeah, like, can you imagine your back being sliced open, and then you like your rib cage gets taken out, and then all your organs get taken out, and you're laid out, and like you haven't died yet.
Yeah, see that one, I feel as if it's not used to counteract.
Like, this is what I'm saying.
You're not doing that method to try and get information.
Do you think people actually did that, or is that like a myth, like, or you don't want to get blood eagled?
Look, the way I see it, there's two types of torture, right? You're trying to get information, or you're just trying to make the victim, like, you know, feel pain and die. And I feel like the information one, you want to keep them around as long as possible until they reach a breaking point. And the one where you want them to die because it's more of a punishment than you're trying to get information.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
And a blood eagle is the punishment.
Dude, the fucking blood eagle's brutal. I remember we were playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. No, they do that in that. Molly, she watches Vikings. Apparently, they do that in it. As Omar has said, that they do that in Vikings a lot as well.
It's fucked up.
Real life examples. As stated, there are no reliable sources that verify the real practice of the blood eagle. That said, the earliest account was 867 AD.
Yeah, bruv, if it's been in literature for that long, then some maniac has tried it. Like, you can guarantee that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been recorded. But
that said, the earliest account was 867 AD when Ivar the Boneless, the son of Viking leader Ragnar Lothbrok, damned Elar, king of Northumbria, to the blood eagle for killing Ragnar via the pit of the live snakes. That sounds like a mad weekend.
That wasn't a weekend, like, that was like a couple of hours.
Yeah, I know, but can you imagine that? Fuck me, you're fighting for the course of England in a fucking pit of snakes. You're fucking...
In a pit of snakes?
Well, yeah, you do
in England.
Fucking thing.
They haven't been poisonous.
Oh, no, maybe.
I'm joking.
Yeah, but maybe they just like had a lot of them. You don't know. Back then,
it's just got like grass snakes down there. It's scary to look at.
Back then, I think we had bears. I think back then
we hunted the fuck out of that.
We killed everything.
We also had wolves.
Yeah, we killed everything on this island that wasn't...
Do you know, they still claim that there are wolves in England because they had them in the Tower of London.
It's Scotland.
They also had a lot of them in the Tower of London, and all of them got out.
Yeah, but like Scotland, apparently they're all up there.
They're in the Highlands.
Yeah.
Like Highland wolves.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, apparently there's Highland wolves. You've not seen like Dog Soldiers where there's like werewolves? You've not seen that film?
No.
Dude, I have that on DVD. I'll watch that with you.
No, we've watched Train to Busan.
No, we're going to watch Train to Busan, not tonight. No, we can watch Train to Busan.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, blood. Yeah, no. Anyway, right, so, the next one. Rat torture, eaten alive. Typically, a rat was placed inside a small cage positioned on the victim's abdomen. The cage was heated from the outside, either by a candle, flame stick, or hot coals, causing the rat to become agitated. So how could it escape? By clawing its way through the only available soft surface, human skin. Quite quickly, the victim...
You say it like that.
Human skin. Quite quickly, the rat would gnaw its way through the victim's bowels, inciting unbearable agony in the process. The technique effectively got information out of prisoners and played on their psyche, adding a psychological element to the torture.
The best part about this one is that you probably don't even need a rat. You can just say it's under there and it's about to dig through, and they know it's coming, so they'll probably just...
Yeah, so, like, back in that day, like, that was probably known practice that people used that as torture method. So if they put, like...
there are other variations.
If they put like a metal thing on your stomach and was like, there's a rat under it, but then you'd feel the rat. But then maybe your brain would start putting in the filling in the pieces and being like, I can feel a rat.
They could put like a little fucking straw puppet on there.
If they just put like something, so it felt like 4 little feet kind of landed on your stomach.
Either way, they probably had a big supply of rats, so...
Yeah, I mean, they could even just put a little rat on.
It's like they had oubliettes, you know oubliettes?
What's an oubliette?
An oubliette is like it's a small space, right? So where they put prisoners and they'd be like crouched the whole time. They'd be in complete darkness, and eventually the rats would get to them. I think that's worse than...
An oubliette?
An oubliette, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's worse than that. But there are variations to that. Like, some they don't do it on the stomach. Some they just, like, send them up the arse. And, like, the rat has nowhere else to go, so it just carries on going up.
What, like, up out your mouth?
Well, like, it would go until it would probably reach down to your neck or come out of your stomach, one or the other.
So it would just, it would hit a point and it would start gnawing.
Yeah.
So it would come out of something.
Yeah.
Either split something or just...
It would have to come out of your intestine, and it can't go through it because then it would reach acid, so it would have to dig out of your intestine, and then wherever it goes, bro.
Fuck me, would you survive that?
I don't think so. No, internal bleeding, no.
Yeah, dude, I'm just trying to think that. I think you just, like, literally, if it just gnawed through and then you just...
Plus, it's like, it would be infected, it's rats, so you'd get disease if you did survive, like, there would be...
Can you imagine that?
You know, no chance.
Sorry, I keep hitting the fucking mic.
Around those days, if it wasn't that, it'd be the plague that got you off anyway. It's like trouble coming in from every side. Could you imagine being in the Dark Ages? The lowest point in
we said we should actually do a Dark Ages episode.
Yeah, man.
I'm actually down for that. I want to research. We got a couple of episodes I've been planning coming up.
We could talk about like Robin Hood as well.
Yeah, dude, I want to talk about Dark Ages. Like, there's a few things that I actually want to get into that because there's some stuff in it, especially because we're from England. We actually this is our like bread and butter. Man. This is our history.
King Arthur.
America doesn't have any of that shit.
Well, they've got people with wigs and wooden teeth.
That was us.
Yeah. The Georgians, I believe.
Right. So, real life examples of the rat torture in Europe. During the Dutch Revolt in the 17th century, Dutch leader Dirk Sonja used rat torture on prisoners. And in South America, between 1964 and 1990, South American dictators used these methods in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Uruguay. That's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Because that's in 1964 to 1990.
They probably still use it today, bro.
Yeah, dude, that's only 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, they stopped...
people still get stoned in that, you know?
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? They're still putting, like, rats on people's stomach using that. Even though, like, they're talking, like, people are talking medieval sort of time. It's like, people are still using that torture method. Like, that's just a known thing. They're like, yeah, rats are always going to need to, like, because it's a heated place, they're going to need to get out of it.
What doesn't matter is the method. What matters is that people are still being tortured to a day.
Fuck
you could use any amount of method to torture someone, you know?
That. But do you know what? I'd love to be on the other end of the torture device.
That's fucked up. You want to take that back?
No.
That's fucked up. You can't just say something like that and it not come back to bite you in the arse.
No, I mean, like, I wouldn't just torture anyone.
It's just the way you said it.
Okay. I didn't mean like, hey.
It sounded like a fantasy.
Okay. No. But maybe it is. But what I mean, like, if it was like a person who deserved it. Undeniable evidence, like, they deserved it. Not irrefutable.
I don't know, because like you don't deserve to torture someone.
No, but like,
even if they deserve it, you don't deserve to dish it out. You know,
it's my make-a-wish. You know, like, dude, I'm down in cancer. I'm a kid. I'm like, look, I want to pull the switch.
Like, psychologically, if you're about to die anyway. But then, like, if you started getting better, then it's the Make-A-Wish Foundation fucked up. Because then they've just bred a supervillain.
Oh my god.
I survived. This is my purpose.
I killed a man with my bare hands.
Yeah, become Lucifer's hitman or some shit, man.
Right, anyway, the next one, right, is flailing, skinned alive. This next topic...
Oh, flaying.
The next torture method always takes the top spot because of the sadistic modus operandis flaying or skinning, which was perhaps the most painful or ancient method of world execution.
They also did this in the Aztecs.
It was because of its slow process. The method... the victims were first stripped and their hands and feet were bound to stop any movement. After this, the executioner was beginning to peel away from the individual skin with a sharp blade, often starting with the head, as this area would inflict the most suffering due to the victim still being conscious. In some instances, parts of the person's body were even boiled to make the skin softer and easier to remove. There were a few ways one could die from flaying: shock, blood loss, fluid loss, or hypothermia or infection. The time of death could also be anywhere from a few hours to a few days. Although it could be rarely considered medieval, a flayed body was a message, an inaccurate canvas of which the punitive of a selected authority may be written.
Yeah, so they could have just said a deterrent. They didn't need to go all out.
I was thinking while I copy and pasted this. This is the first time I've read this. That is some horse shit. The way they've written that.
Yeah,
basically, they could have said, "Hey, this is a message.
It's a deterrent."
It's a deterrent.
Yeah.
They didn't need to be like a flayed body was a message, an equivalent canvas of which a punitive of a secular of the authority may be written. Fuck off. Right? Anyway, a real life example: flaying was practiced in the Assyrians, Aztecs, Chinese, and several medieval European peoples. I mean, can you imagine being flayed from your face? Like, you're being boiled. They stick your hand in a pot boiling you so then they can peel away your skin.
I'd argue still not the worst.
Just for the sake of... Like, you think, what benefit are they getting from causing you pain?
Big smiles all around.
Yeah, what benefit are they actually getting?
Well, I'll tell you what benefit the Aztecs supposedly got from getting the most pain out of a victim before they're dying. Well, if they were to eat off the subject, they say that the stimulant releases DMT to the brain, and being that overstimulated from being flayed, from being in that much pain, would make the brain taste nicer because it'll be running with juices just before it's cooked.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
so there are reasons for it, man.
Yeah, no, okay.
But then most of them there aren't, because they don't eat them afterwards.
Okay, no. I'll hold you to that. That's
it's like how they lower a monkey onto the fire before they eat it, because they want the monkey to be scared. That echoed.
That echoed so much. I could hear that in my ears. Right, okay, so the next one is the Roman candle. The ancient world ultimate torture method. History is filled with ruthless psychological figures, and Roman ruler Nero is one of them. He hated Christians so much that he used them as human candles, or torches, for his garden parties. First, the victims were tied, nailed to tall stakes, then flammable liquid was poured over them before they were set alight. The flames started at their feet, prolonging their suffering. Whether the Christians had rebelled against the state or not, this was a monstrous way to go. It reflected how barbaric punishments were inadequate and how they were often born of man's vicious ego and the thirst to dominate what he considered a lower populace.
I didn't actually get a word of that. I was just wondering how you got like an A in drama the whole time.
Fuck you, man. I've had like 6 pints. Give me a fucking minute. I'm reading like a fucking Down syndrome. Like a fucking... Do you want me... I can do that whole sentence again with a bit of gravitas if you read it.
No, I think that's the problem. What's the gravitas?
Oh, was it?
It was like anime.
What was it? I can just read it normally.
It was also like... It's also the way the go rotates.
Okay,
this guy's like an anime villain.
This is what I'm saying. I don't think it's... I'm working with the material I've got. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to make this as usable as possible. But whoever wrote this article is fucking weird. Bro. I was reading it before. I cut a couple of these out because it was like, no, they were weird. Like the way he worded a few of them, I was like, no, I got to cut these out.
He definitely did like a few little plays. Yeah,
exactly.
I am greed.
And like, no, I don't know. Like, I was just a bit pissed off with it. Anyway, so something about burning people in the cannon. Can you imagine you're tied to a thing and then you're covered in flammable liquid and then you just burn from the feet up? And you're like, imagine you're at gunfight.
Still not the worst one.
You're like, hey, Stathos, come over to my house. And you go over to this guy's house and then you just see these guys. You're like, what the fuck? And they're tied. Help me. And then tied to these candles. And they're coming to the victim. He's burning their feet. And you're like, enjoying your drink. And you're just hearing, like the whole time. And you're like, you're trying to enjoy your drink. And this guy's going, so I mean the recent Rome economic. And like, you're like looking and this.
I'd prefer if there was like a guy there, like, you know, in Life of Brian, the one being crucified, and he's all chill about it. He's like being burned alive, a guy screaming next to him. He's like, calm down, mate. We've got a few hours here left. Come on now.
It's not the end of the world. Come on, worse things happen at sea.
Always.
Let go on the. Well,
you can't sing any more of that.
Do you know that leads into the next one, which is a crossover to the next section. But the last one is crucifixion. Which obviously is exactly what you go into. I was going to mention.
And they didn't mention any more in the medieval, because the medieval one housed some absolutely terrible ones that are worse than all of
honestly,
those.
They worded them really badly. I cut a few out.
You probably cut out the bag and like the one where the milk and the honey and they're in the coffin and they get put into a river.
No, to be fair, I didn't see the milk and the honey one on that. I do know that. I do know. Do you know the milk and the honey one? So you can explain it to the listeners.
Alright, so basically, right, this was I think it was Greek and Roman, right? It would normally happen for stuff like thievery or treason, right? Yeah. And it was normally a punishment for those. But what this person would do, right, they put them in like a coffin, and only their hands and their feet are outside of the coffin. So their hands and feet would be in the water at all times, which helps like little bugs and shit get in, as well as like keeping them cold and shit, so they can't really move about and shit. They'd be bounded to the coffin, right? And then they would be like force-fed loads of milk and honey, right? And then they'd be tossed into like a lake and just thrown out there. And like, they'll be covered in honey and milk as well. That would be fermented. And they would be shitting and throwing up on themselves and wouldn't be able to clean it up, and they'd eventually get eaten alive by bugs.
I think I've seen a porno like that once.
That's fucked up. And then the bag was similar to this, but like no milk and honey.
Nice. King of the guess.
The bag is when they'd put you in a massive leather bag, right, with a cat, a monkey, a snake, and a dog, and then they just throw you in a river, and it would be like complete black in the bag. And like, you're just out in a bag in the river with a cat, a dog, a snake, and a monkey.
You know, fuck that.
And I think there was a bird in there too.
Fucking shit. How is that a time to fucking enjoy yourself?
I don't think any of these are a time to enjoy yourself.
Aydan, I think we should take a time to just talk to our sponsor, Rich. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Rich.
Hope you got the house. Rich looked at a new house to live in today.
Oh yeah.
Wish him luck.
I wish him well on that.
Yeah. Good luck, Rich. You probably got it by now. Anyway, so after the crucifixion, so basically, crucifixion from the ancient world to modern, crucifixion involved being tied and nailed to a wooden beam or cross. Nails were pierced through the bones below the wrist to bear the weight of the person. It was a brilliant placement because no major blood vessels were hit. Only the median nerve, which would cause the fingers to seize and the hands to flex down in excruciating contraction. The feet were nailed to the vertical part of the cross, and once the legs were weakened, the arms had to hold up the body, resulting in the shoulders being pulled from their sockets. The elbows and wrists would soon follow, and the arms... Okay, we're just gonna... Oh my god, why is it going so down? Right, okay, right, we're just gonna round off the crucifixion. Okay, so basically the battery just ran out, so if you're wondering. Yeah, the elbows and wrists would soon follow, and the arms are now severely inches longer. At this point, the chest had to bear the body's weight, triggering respiratory issues and eventually suffocation. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know you got suffocation from crucifixion.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that was the end cause.
It makes sense, because you wouldn't be able to hold yourself up through your arms, so eventually all of your body's muscles would go into anaerobic respiration, which is like the build-up of lactic acid in your muscle.
It makes sense. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense.
It means you'd run out of oxygen because, like, all of it that you're getting is being supplied straight to the muscle.
You're just sort of, everything's getting weighed down. You're just like that. Your arms pull out of their sockets and everything.
Not only that, birds would pick at you as well, because, like, you know how, like, seagulls know when it's time for feeding when it's school and that. And it's like, birds were that smart that they'd know who was being up for torture and they'd pick at their eyes and shit.
Yeah, because they knew that they were free game.
Literally, it's like the bird cages you see in fucking those like Pirates Caribbean.
Yeah, literally, where people are in like this cage and they're like picking them.
Literally,
what one is that? Is that the third one?
That's the third one. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
No, it's the start of the second one.
When he's in the coffin.
No, it's that's the start of the second one.
Dude, that's the best one. Oh, the third one's
the second one's the best one.
When they're doing the slow march and the kid gets hanged.
Yeah. Second one's the best one because it's the girl.
Why have you watched Pirates of the Caribbean lately? Because I've watched Pirates.
Someone hasn't seen it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna fucking watch them with you. I mean, watch Lord of the Rings.
Cannibal Island is the best one. Though.
We're gonna have a good time. Oh yeah, no, it is the second one. The second one.
That's
what I'm talking about. The second one opens with the coffin, and like you think the coffin's there, and then he pokes his gun through the top. He shoots the seagull.
Yeah, the crew.
Oh, that's great. Anyway, so modern torture methods, CIA torture programs. So this guy basically.
Oh, we doing the moderns.
Yeah, this guy basically. I've only got a few of them. We'll quickly talk to them. But drawings, basically, this guy did drawings of when he was in captivity of a prisoner under the enhanced interrogation, and he was an artist. He got taken for interrogation, and he actually hadn't really done anything wrong, and they basically did these few torture methods to him. So they did the classic waterboarding. Now, if you don't know, waterboarding is basically where they cover, they put you kind of on your back, and then they put a cloth over your mouth, and then they pour water down your back, down your face, and it basically simulates drowning. But you're not going to die. It's enough to keep you alive, but enough to kind of you end up walking the line between death and. But what they did to him, he illustrated, is they twisted his right ankle, so he was constantly in pain. So like he was laying down, but they like span his right ankle round, so like he was almost breaking it. So like, he was almost always uncomfortable, right? And then so they also did stress positions, again, kind of just awkward positions where they'd tie him to a metal bar, but they'd put his right leg as high as they could.
Yeah, and see, that doesn't sound that bad, but after a few hours, that's the fucking worst.
Exactly.
Bro.
You think
it's like the drop technique.
Even like an hour, like you just have your leg up, like all the blood's drained from it, and you're just like.
No, it's like the water drop technique. A lot of people think that doesn't sound bad. It's just a drop on the forehead every few seconds for like days on end.
But you think that drive you nuts?
Yeah, eventually it starts to actually erode away at your skull. It's like they do it for that long.
It's like the bamboo where it grows through.
Yeah. That can happen overnight by accident. Yeah.
Fuck that.
But
anyway, right. So then they do walling. Have you ever heard of walling?
I don't think I have.
I hadn't heard of walling before I looked this up earlier.
Is that like the booby trap when the walls close in on each other?
No, they literally smack your head against a wall.
Oh.
This is CIA. Like this guy, he drew a picture of like literally some guy like just smacking it.
I'm thinking of like Batman and a Joker.
Yeah, no, like it's just guy. He didn't even do anything wrong in the end. This guy, I can't remember what his name was. I should have written it down. I was just in a bit of a rush.
I know who made up that one. Must have been Amanda Waller.
But like, can you imagine that? That's their torture method. They're just like, tell us what we want to know, and just smacking their head against.
You give multiple concussions. I think that's the best way of doing it.
So the next one is a large confinement box, which basically was this little box where you had a seat and you just sat there for days, right?
Solitary.
It was just days. The other one is a small confinement box.
Oh. Not the small one.
And no, but that one, They said it was like a fucking 3 foot by 3 foot box.
Yeah, that's like an oubliette, but better, because there's no rats and like damp water at the bottom and like skeletons literally rotting next to you.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, oubliettes. You can still see oubliettes in some of the castles you visit.
Fuck that. Fuck that. The next one I've got is sleep deprivation.
Yeah, that one doesn't exist.
Does it not?
Well, eventually the body will just pass out and sleep itself, and it is fucked up. But I mean, like the whole creepypasta Russian sleep deprivation experiment. That's fake.
They do the sleep deprivation.
Yeah, they probably did, but the Russian one was all fake.
They have there is no things where like you're literally they will keep you awake no matter what. As soon as you start to look awake, they'll come in, they'll shake you, they'll give you adrenaline. They'll give you
that would help you out.
No, they'll give you cocaine. They'll give you it's known literally no matter what they have to do, they will keep you awake.
Yeah, eventually the body will succumb.
But you can't stay awake forever. They'll give you crack. They'll give you meth. They'll give you all this stuff. They give you drugs, and it's a known thing. It's not like it's just they leave you in a room and you have to stay awake.
But yeah, but even on meth and all these substances, eventually the body will always succumb to sleep. Eventually, it would always happen. That's why the Russian sleep deprivation experiment, the one that was a creepypasta that got really famous quite a few years back, it didn't exist. Because it's
Did it not?
No, because it was they were talking months on end without sleep. It's not possible.
No, it's not possible that no. Right, so to finish it off, I've got a couple of torture stories. Literally, one or two.
Great.
Right? Real life.
I love a true
They're
story.
really grim and grotty. I can't lie. They're not very fun.
I don't. That's not my forte.
The first one is called Jay is Gay.
What?
The first story is called Jay is Gay. Jay had a normal childhood and is just living like everybody else in a small village in Cameroon. But at the age of 15, he realised he was gay. Life was becoming extremely difficult. Jay knew that he was going to face violence if anybody found out that he was gay, so as a teenager, he was considered abnormal. And at the age of 19, it got worse and he refused to take a wife. He moved to the city and discovered an underground gay community who used fake names. He was sitting at a bar when he was arrested at random by police looking for gay men they could torture. Over 5 days, police officers burned him with cigarettes, beat him until he could barely breathe, sexually assaulted him, and when years later he was asked again threatened again with arrest.
What did you say?
Sorry. Years later he was then threatened again after an arrest with another man. Jay was forced to flee Cameroon.
Cameroon?
Yeah, Cameroon.
Cameroon?
More like Cameroon, mate.
Fair enough. I was picturing America. You say Cameroon, it kind of threw a spanner in the works for me.
Cameroon's Africa.
Yeah, it is. It's West Africa.
Yeah. So, that's pretty savage, but he got burnt and raped for 5 days or whatever. Over 5 days. So probably a week. A week of you're just getting burnt and raped and sexually assaulted. But then you get out and you get your freedom. And in the end, I think he came to England. Fadia called for women's rights. The day they arrested her in Iran, Fadia was just one term away from completing her master's in sociology. She had been a teacher for 18 years, but changed her life when she was blindfolded and taken away in a car as part in the International Women's Day. Fadia had tried to help others by speaking out for women's education and against honour killings and domestic violence. But the government would not tolerate her speaking out. During the month in detention, she was assaulted, beaten, threatened, and after her food was drugged, she was raped. After she lived she lived for the next few years in fear. Her brother and sister had already been executed, petrified for the same fear. She fled Iran. Fadia travelled for 40 days before being dropped off in London by a man in a lorry, in pain and disorientated. That was, yeah. So
yeah, those last two people those last two fellas, or whoever they were, had it easy. Like, we've just listed off some of the worst of all time.
I know, and they got beaten and raped.
I'd take beaten and raped.
I'm not gonna lie, beaten and raped and dropped off in London.
Dropped off in London.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
How do you do?
Do you know?
I'll tell you what,
Aydan. Honestly, that's
imagine
probably
being
the most
beaten and raped,
that's probably
and
the most
then being dropped off in Iran.
Yeah. Dude, no, you brought up a great point there. Like, after all of this, we're like
dropped off straight back where they started.
I'd 100% take what those last two took after. I don't want a rap digging through me.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't want the milk and honey.
I don't want to take a trip underneath a boat. You know, I don't want to have I don't want to get beaten with a crowbar on a wheel. You know? If it means that I've got to get raped for
anything
a week,
to do with the testicles as well, keep me out of that.
Exactly. If it means that I've got to get raped for a week and I end up in London on benefits, you know,
benefits be into it. I reckon,
because they're going to get benefits. Do you think they're going to work?
You don't need benefits, bro. You just write a book. I survived torture. It'd be a bestseller. You'd be fine
for a week.
Bestseller for a week is all you need.
It'd be a bestseller for a week.
You know, tiny one-bedroom flat.
They're never going to be able to get a career out of it. They'll get one book, 1 week, and that'll be it.
But that week of doing talk show to talk show, you get
on Jonathan Ross and Graham Norton.
Fuck them. You get to meet Holly Willoughby in the morning show.
No, she's gone.
She's gone.
She's gone.
I would have left too.
Yeah, she left this morning. Not this morning. She left the show this morning.
Yeah, I know.
No. She didn't leave the show this morning. She left the show this morning.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like the show this morning.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean? But it wasn't this morning. It was this morning. You know.
It's just like, I never watched that show, but
did you not?
No, but
Aydan,
if I would, it would have been for her.
It was a legendary show. What they used to do, they used to finger pop her every episode, just before.
Sounds more like that.
No one ever mentioned it, but I knew a guy who was a runner on the ITV fucking set, and he said he used to finger pop Holly Willoughby every fucking show, because she used to love it. Because she'd get all riled up and she'd be like, oh, this makes it worth it. This fucking, yeah.
I don't know, she doesn't seem like the girl that likes getting fingered that much. She seems more like a classy broad. She goes all the way, bro. She doesn't take just a finger. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Real classy broad. She's a classy broad.
She's a classy boy.
You see me? I'm a numbers guy.
I'm a numbers guy. I'm a guy who thinks about the plan. You know what I mean? Right, Aydan, I think, honestly, that's about it for this podcast. We've come to a pretty good conclusion.
Conclusion.
What's the week of the week?
The week of the week. I haven't even thought about that. I'm going for strain of weed of the week.
What's the strain of the weed of the week?
He said the strain of the weed of the weed.
The strain of the weed of the week.
I'm gonna go for OG Daddy Kush.
That's not fucking.
I'm willing to bet it is.
When was the last time you had it though?
I haven't had most strains of weed.
Have you ever had it?
Dog.
I feel like actually. Do you know what?
I feel like we've been lied to our whole lives about.
It feels like I could. I don't know.
Well, I haven't used the pop filter the whole time.
To be fair, you never use a pop filter, and I always have it on. People. Oh my god, why am I still working? Oh yeah, no, but it's like people always complain about you're holding your face or whatever. It's like I just use it because I feel like.
Adam, save it for the diary. All right, the week.
What's your of the week? Fucking, you know what? Nah, you don't even get an of the week. Fucking make sure.
Fruit of the week is banana.
Make sure you follow fucking.
Because he loves it.
Culture. Make sure you follow the Shodcast pod on Instagram. Go fuck yourself. I'm Adam. This is Aydan, and we're fucking here as much as we can be. Right, bye.